Imagine you are a young woman living in early 19th century England. You have a sharp mind, a quick wit, and a loving heart. But there is a problem. You are one of 5 sisters, and your family's estate is entailed. This means that when your father dies, you will inherit nothing. The house, the land, the money, it all goes to a distant male cousin. Your family's survival rests entirely on one strategy: marriage. Society tells you that you must marry for security, for status, and for money. But you are determined to only marry for deep, abiding love. Even if it means risking destitution. Welcome to the world of Elizabeth Bennet.
Hey readers! Busy life making it hard to finish books? I've got you covered. Before we start, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Let's dive into books in minutes.
Today, we are exploring one of the most beloved novels in the English language, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. Published in 1813, this book is often mistaken for a simple romance. But beneath the bonnets and ball gowns, it is a biting satire. Austen wrote it to criticize the rigid class system of her time, and the immense pressure placed on women to treat marriage as a business transaction rather than a union of hearts. This story is for anyone who loves sharp dialogue, psychological growth, and the idea that we must overcome our own flaws before we can truly love another person. Our story begins in the village of Longbourn, at the home of the Bennet family. Mr. and Mrs. Bennet have 5 daughters: the beautiful Jane, the witty Elizabeth, or Lizzie, the bookish Mary, and the younger, flirtatious sisters, Kitty and Lydia. Mrs. Bennet has one singular goal in life: to get her daughters married. Excitement sweeps through the village when a wealthy, handsome young bachelor named Mr. Bingley rents a nearby estate called Netherfield. He brings with him his snobbish sisters and his best friend, Mr. Darcy. At a public ball, the town gets their first look at the newcomers. Mr. Bingley is charming and immediately falls for the eldest sister, Jane. Mr. Darcy, however, is a different story. He is incredibly wealthy, richer than Bingley, but he is cold, aloof, and refuses to dance. When Bingley suggests Darcy dance with Elizabeth, Darcy declines within earshot of her. He says she is tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me. Elizabeth laughs off the insult with her friends, but the damage is done. She marks Darcy down as the most arrogant man she has ever met. This is the prejudice taking root. As weeks pass, Jane and Bingley grow closer. However, during a visit to Bingley's estate, Jane falls ill and has to stay there for days. Elizabeth walks miles through the mud to nurse her sister. While Darcy is privately impressed by Elizabeth's devotion and her fine eyes, he remains critical of her family's embarrassing behavior. Mrs. Bennet is loud and money-hungry, and the younger sisters are wild. Enter Mr. Collins. He is the distant cousin who will inherit the Bennet estate. He is a pompous, silly clergyman who flatters his patron, the wealthy Lady Catherine de Bourgh. He comes to Longbourn looking for a wife to make amends for inheriting the house. He sets his sights on Elizabeth. He proposes to her in a ridiculously unromantic way, listing his reasons like a business contract. Elizabeth refuses him flat out. Her mother is furious and threatens never to speak to her again, but her father supports her, saying he doesn't want her to marry a fool. Rejection doesn't stop Mr. Collins for long. He walks down the road and proposes to Elizabeth's best friend, Charlotte Lucas. Charlotte accepts. She explains to a shocked Elizabeth that she is 27, plain, and has no money. She needs security, not romance. This creates a rift between the 2 friends. Around this time, a militia regiment arrives in town. Elizabeth meets the charming and handsome Mr. Wickham. Wickham tells Elizabeth a sob story. He claims he grew up with Darcy, and that Darcy cheated him out of a rightful inheritance out of pure jealousy. Elizabeth, already disliking Darcy, believes Wickham instantly. This solidifies her hatred for Darcy. Suddenly, heartbreak strikes. The Bingleys and Mr. Darcy abruptly leave Netherfield for London. Jane receives a letter from Bingley's sister implying that Bingley will marry Darcy's sister, effectively dumping Jane. Jane is devastated but suffers in silence. Elizabeth is convinced that Darcy and the sisters conspired to separate the couple, because the Bennets weren't rich enough. Months later, Elizabeth visits her friend Charlotte, now Mrs. Collins, at her new home. Here, she is invited to dinner at Rosings Park, the home of the intimidating Lady Catherine de Bourgh. It turns out Lady Catherine is Mr. Darcy's aunt. Darcy happens to be visiting his aunt at the same time. Over several weeks, Darcy frequently visits the parsonage, acting awkward, but trying to make conversation with Elizabeth. Eventually, he shocks Elizabeth and the reader by proposing marriage. But it is a terrible proposal. He tells her he loves her against his better judgment, and despite the inferiority of her family. Elizabeth is insulted. She furiously rejects him. She accuses him of ruining Jane's happiness with Bingley and of treating the poor Mr. Wickham horribly. Darcy leaves in anger, but the next day, he hands her a letter. This letter changes everything. In it, Darcy explains his actions. He admits he separated Bingley and Jane, because he honestly thought Jane didn't love Bingley back. She is very shy, after all. Regarding Wickham, Darcy reveals the dark truth. Wickham is a gambler and a libertine who refused his inheritance in exchange for cash, spent it all, and then tried to elope with Darcy's 15-year-old sister, Georgiana, just to get her money. Elizabeth reads this and realizes she has been blind, partial, prejudiced, and absurd. She realizes Wickham is a liar, and that she judged Darcy based on injured pride. She returns home, a changed woman. Sometime later, Elizabeth goes on a tour of the Peak District with her aunt and uncle, the Gardners. They visit Pemberley, Darcy's massive estate. They think the family is away, but Darcy comes home early. This meeting is different. Darcy is polite, welcoming, and introduces Elizabeth to his sister. He is making a genuine effort to change his behavior, showing he took her criticism to heart. Elizabeth begins to fall in love with him. But just as things look hopeful, disaster strikes. Elizabeth receives a frantic letter from home. Her youngest sister, Lydia, has run away with the scoundrel Wickham. In this era, this is a total scandal. If they don't marry, the Bennett family's reputation is ruined forever. No decent man will ever marry the other sisters. Elizabeth rushes home, telling Darcy what happened and believing she will never see him again. Who would want to marry into a family disgraced by Wickham? Days of panic ensue. Eventually, the family learns that Wickham has agreed to marry Lydia. They assume Elizabeth's uncle paid Wickham a large sum of money to convince him. Lydia returns home, married and shameless. But she accidentally lets slip a secret. It wasn't her uncle who was at the wedding. It was Mr. Darcy. Elizabeth learns the truth. Darcy went to London, tracked them down, and paid off all of Wickham's massive debts to save the Bennett family's reputation. All while insisting it be kept a secret. He did it for her. Soon after, Bingley and Darcy return to Hertfordshire. Bingley, with Darcy's blessing this time, proposes to Jane. She accepts happily. Then, Lady Catherine de Bourgh storms into the Bennet house. She has heard a rumor that Darcy plans to marry Elizabeth. She demands Elizabeth promise never to marry him. Elizabeth refuses to be intimidated. She tells Lady Catherine that she will not be bullied. When Darcy hears about this defiance, it gives him hope. He realizes Elizabeth's feelings must have changed. On a walk, Darcy proposes again. This time, he is humble. He thanks her for teaching him a lesson about his own pride. Elizabeth accepts. She tells her father about what Darcy did for Lydia, proving he is a good man. The book ends with the marriage of Jane and Bingley, and Elizabeth and Darcy, a union based not just on status, but on genuine love, respect, and mutual growth. Key takeaways. So, what can we learn from Elizabeth and Darcy? First impressions aren't facts. The title Pride and Prejudice refers to the main flaws of the characters. Darcy's pride blinded him to Elizabeth's worth, and Elizabeth's prejudice blinded her to Darcy's true character. The book teaches us to look past surface appearances and rumors to find the truth about people. Second, the importance of self-awareness. Both characters had to change to be together. Darcy had to learn to be a gentleman in manner, not just in status. Elizabeth had to admit she was wrong. A healthy relationship requires the humility to admit when you've made a mistake. And finally, marriage, or any partnership, should be between equals. Austen contrasts their marriage with others in the book. Lydia and Wickham are based on lust and foolishness. Mr. Collins and Charlotte are based on pure economics. But Elizabeth and Darcy represent the ideal. A balance of financial security and emotional connection. So what do you think about this book? Did its ideas resonate with you, or challenge the way you see things? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you took away from it. And if there's a book you'd like me to cover next, drop that below as well. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.